Hey, my Padawans. Happy Tuesday night. Jimmy Kimmel got reinstated and he got his job back. Let me just have some coffee here. Wow, this is just amazing. Disney supports liberal trash. We all knew that the right, the FCC director, wanted him out because he's not a comedian. He's not funny at all. Let's get that out of the way. He's not a comedian. He's propaganda for the left. But let's talk about some of the late night show hosts that got fired back in the day. If you're old enough to remember, you guys remember the Chevy Chase show? Yeah, Chevy Chase got fired by the network. I don't remember how long he lasted. But see, back then it wasn't so political. It wasn't like this. It wasn't left and right. You know, we didn't have any snowflakes. We didn't have any lunatics on the left fighting back, going out on the streets and writing letters to a company. Hey, don't fire Chevy Chase. He got fired, and that was it. That's the way it is. And if you also remember, Jay Leno got fired from The Late Show. And then they had Conan O'Brien doing The Late Show for a little while. And then Jay Leno came back and fired Conan O'Brien. And then Conan O'Brien lost his show. And there was no outrage, you know, there was no Disney, affiliation. There was no internet. You know, there was no fighters on the internet. Hey, you got to get them back. When Conan got fired, Conan is one of the best late night show guys. He's actually funny, and nobody fought for Conan O'Brien. I don't see anybody going around with signs outside, you know, going after Trump or Biden or whoever was president. I think it was Biden when Conan got fired. But see, Jimmy Kimmel is not funny, and he's a fucking liar. He always, you know, he was back tonight. I watched the clip. And he talks about, you know, the bullshit. Oh, free speech. I'm being silenced. Thank you for your support. I wasn't trying to blame it on anybody. Okay, dumb fuck. If anybody watches his show every night, we all know what he's going to say. Even before the show starts, we know his monologue is going to be about Trump. All right? That's not a good comedian. If you already know that before he gets on stage, every night, he's going to say something about Trump, something about Marco Rubio, everybody in the Trump administration. How is that fresh? How is that raw comedy? That's actually pretty stupid and pretty predictable. It's fucking lame as fuck. You know, at least growing up, we have comedians that were funny, witty, and you didn't know what they were going to talk about. You know, it was interesting. But Jimmy Kimmel is so dull, sort of like Richard Roeper. We already know he's going to talk about the Jews and the Nazis, right? You already know that's the topic. And that's it. I mean, that's how far as... So there's no creativity in Jimmy Kimmel. I watched him many times in the past, and every time the show starts, I said, okay, I'm waiting for the Trump supposedly jokes, right? They're not jokes. They're jabs at President Trump. I've never seen him joke about AOC. Okay, never. He did a couple of jokes about Kamala and Biden. The same thing with Saturday Night Live and a lot of these other shows. At least Jimmy Fallon is sort of balanced. Okay, he made more jokes about Biden, more jokes about Kamala. You know, he's sort of and Jimmy Fallon is funny, but Kimmel is not funny. So I think it's interesting that Disney bent the knee, and because they were going to lose all these subscriptions, and they decided to, hey, let's bring him back. It's not too bad. You know, he's just making fun of the president. We should have free speech. Shaking my fucking head. Let me have another coffee. But see, Gina Carano as Cara Dune in The Mandalorian was called a Nazi, a bigot, all kinds of names at Disney. And she got fired for fighting back with all the fucking freaks at the Disney Corporation, like Pedro Pascal, and everybody that works for Disney is on the left. And she got fired. Same with Roseanne. They were never invited back on their shows. And the thing that I guess people don't understand, when you get fired from a job, yeah, there's a possibility that, you know, you see all these cases of, you know, the employee being upset at the boss, and they go back and they shoot their boss for getting fired. Yeah, that happens. But for the liberal scum to rise up and make this about free speech is absolutely fucking ridiculous, irrelevant, and fucking ridiculous. It just makes no sense. They're just trying to use the First Amendment, freedom of speech bullshit to bring back Jimmy Kimmel because they like making fun of Trump. That's all it is. And I will say something about Trump. As a citizen, he's a regular guy. He has the right to criticize Jimmy Kimmel as anybody, as any private citizen. As I can say I don't like Jimmy, President Trump has said he can say that he has no talent, that he's boring, that he's predictable. And he is, because every night he talks about Trump. And that's not being a good comedian. Remember back with Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, some of these great comedians, when they went on stage, okay, when they had their specials, you didn't know what they were going to talk about. The topic. You didn't know if they were going to make fun of a gay people or black people, because they made a lot of fun of races back in the day, in the 80s when I was growing up. They would make fun of like retards and all this stuff. But again, Jimmy Kimmel has no formula. As a comedian, I guess you could call his comedy routine, his comedy sketch is the same every night. He gets on stage, pay attention, he gets on stage, and the first joke he says, well, this week, President Trump, blah, 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 President Trump this, President Trump that. Now, I don't know if I don't know if he was told to maybe tone it down, but again, I've never heard Jimmy Kimmel say a joke about Biden or Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton or anybody in the left. How is that comedy? That is not freedom of speech. That is hate speech. So that's literally what Jimmy is doing, hate speech. And it's being put under the umbrella that it's free speech, that they're trying to silence him. It's just bullshit. Okay. Again, anybody gets fired, it all depends on the company that you work for. The outside influences shouldn't matter. But in this case, Disney panicked. Disney found out that they were going to cancel the memberships. A lot of these people were mad at Disney. The left, they're eating themselves. They went after Disney. And Disney panicked, and they brought them back tonight. That's just such a cowardly fucking move by Disney. And I'm not going to blame... I'm not going to stop watching Disney Star Wars shows because I'm a Star Wars fan. And I did not cancel my membership to Disney. To me, that doesn't relate. It's not the same. Disney should not be political. That's the point. But Jimmy Kimmel thinks that his show should be political. That's it. And it's supposed to be a comedy show about actors and about movies and promoting their movies. It's not supposed to be about Trump. Unless he was a guest on the show. But it seems that people over there on ABC and Disney think that The Late Show should be about Donald Trump, about the President of the United States. And how that became about, I have no fucking idea. I don't know how it evolved from like Arsenio Hall, which was fucking funny as fuck. Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, even the Chevy Chase show. I liked it. And now that means that they can't cancel The View because they're going to have all these left freaks sending out these letters and canceling their memberships. And it's just really... it's really disappointing that this has become a left and right war because that's what it is. It's a war. Okay? Don't mistaken it for just broadcast corporations and TV shows. This is a war. This is between the left and the right, the ideology. It's okay for the left to attack people like Charlie Kirk and the President of the United States. But the right cannot silence or complain or say anything about the left. Because then they're accused of, you're trying to silence us. This is free speech. We got the right to say whatever we want. You don't have the right to say whatever you want when you work for a company. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And again, I go back to Chevy Chase because I remember I was at the premiere for Chevy Chase and I liked that show. And he got canceled for low ratings. And the thing with Conan and Jay Leno, when they were fighting each other, no one in the public cared if Jay Leno got fired or if Conan got fired or any of these people. So what I want you to do is next time your friend gets fired from their job, like Phil got fired or Jeff got fired, I want you to write to the company and say, oh my God, you can't fire my friend. That's freedom of the press, freedom of speech. How dare you silence Phil and Jeff? You can't do that. You have to give them their job back. This is the mentality of the snowflakes, the Gen Zs, the new generation. They can't take it. So they take it out on the social media. They attack whoever they can. They burn cities. They destroy these corporations. They start campaigns. They will do anything. They will lie up to their ass just to bring back someone that, sort of represents their beliefs, because that's what Jimmy Kimmel is. Jimmy Kimmel is getting on stage every night speaking for these people. So he's sort of a preacher. He's sort of the church of the Democrats. It has become sort of religious when you watch these shows at night. It's preaching. is preaching against the Bible, preaching against God, and preaching against the United States and making America great again. Have a good night, and may the force be with you. Goodbye.